Be me. Going through some old childhood belongings. Find amazing and shitty knockoff Naruto Russian merchandise. A couple old bottles of Soviet Coca-Cola. Smile. Finding an old shirt I used to wear to school. Open up dresser and freeze. Find at the bottom an old Soviet VDV pin. It was not a family heirloom. My father was infantry, and no one except my granduncle was VDV. No, this was my own item, and it's a terrible story. Repressed memories come flooding back. B-17. Going to a school in a depressing industrial city on the border of Siberia. Smog, pollution. Concrete industrial housing complexes are stony fingers raised up against the sky in defiance to God and His creation. Often cold, often snowing, surrounded by a trail of mountainous, marsh-like wooded ridges. In old times, it was said that witches and crones lived in the woods and would take children who wandered there without their parents forever. It was near the end of primary education. Soon we would go to gymnasium or the uni, secondary education. This was when I met Yegor. I had 3 good friends besides Yegor, Grisha, Stefan, and Nima, because he was always lost. Grisha had a stutter. Stefan's mom lived in Spain, and he visited her there in the summers. And Nima once got locked inside the school during a winter storm, and survived by drinking nothing but milk in the cafeteria. Nima also used to steal spoons from the cafeteria, but that is another story. Yegor was a scrawny, tall kid, liked anime, and was considerably wealthy compared to us. His dad was apparently a former KGB guy, and he ran a private skydiving business. Rumor stated he also assisted in training modern Spetsnaz, but it was all just youthful jingles and story. Yegor had a dark reputation, however. During a hike in the nearby woods, 2 of his friends went missing. They were declared dead a year later, but no one ever pointed a finger at Yegor or his family, mostly because his father was eager to help out and flew a personal plane in search of the lost boys. They were never found. Yegor did not have many friends, so he took a big liking to us. We all enjoyed Naruto and talked about our father's past in the Soviet militaries with admiration. Yegor had an older brother who was killed in the beginning of the Second Chechen War against Dagestani rebels. We drink in his honor one night. Yegor becomes ever closer to us as we spend nights drinking away in an abandoned Soviet watch post to keep us warm. Yegor invites us out on basically a glorified LARP thing. His father gives people the authentic Soviet airborne experience, but for us it will be free. Get excited. My parents are somehow okay with this prospect because Yegor's dad is a respected man. Apparently, Yegor's dad is also a hunter, and he gives meat freely to markets often. Either way, the man looked like a beast when we first met him. Dark black facial hair and a round face and a muscular body, thick as he was wide, and intimidatingly blue stare. Strange his son was so skinny alternatively, and with gaunt, ghostly features for a face. His father takes us out to a cabin and pseudo airbase past the main tree line in a helicopter. Excited, Yegor's dad, whose name was Valentin, surely was KGB if he was such a skilled pilot and owned so many civilianized military craft. Land, and feeling like a big military man, he marches us to a wooden structure behind a cabin-like house where he stays during hunting. Out back, it is a wide place with numerous shelves and chains hanging from the ceiling. Lots of equipment for cutting through ice too, and it looked like it was once a fishing shack that was on a frozen lake. Below, there were fridge-like doors chained shut on the floor. We presumed it was where he kept very valuable things. We got dressed up in actual Soviet VDV uniforms and get pins too. Exciting. We spend an entire evening learning the basics of parachuting, practicing by flinging ourselves into snow. This continues for about a week. We eat very well, and good dried meats and tinned food like real soldiers in the main cabin. We are given actual rifles, and Yegor walks around with a Krinkov. We sleep in uniform and pretend to tell war stories, share cigarettes, and talk about all the girls we fucked in school. Occasionally argue, but it was all a fun time. We get in the helicopter one day, and we go to a strange playground-like park at the top of a mountain pass where the snow is a little thicker, but there is plenty lacking of trees. We land and we get out. Jaeger takes us to the top of the stairs of the device. We wire up and go down the contraption, which is built to simulate parachuting out of a plane. Indeed, we do this several more times, just like how actual VDV train. Each time we disconnect and land correctly in the snow, sometimes burying ourselves deep in it, he gives us a VDV pin and metal accolade, saying that we were wayward airborne. We go back to the cabin and sleep hard. Not anyone has time to finish a cigarette. In the morning, Jaeger is up first and kicks us to wake us up. "Stop kicking, you beast. Why do you hit?" I ask him. "Because I am the officer and you are the soldiers. I kick and you stand. Now stand and salute." Grisha is first to mention. You have no rank, we don't salute." Jaeger slaps Grisha and makes fun of his stutter. We all awkwardly eat our morning red porridge and head out without gear. Valentin, the KGB pilot, is waiting for us, and we get in the helicopter. Only this time, we head way out past the previous ground and to what looks like a military base. The base is small, and the soldiers greet us warmly. They especially greet Valentin with hugs and first-name talk. They are all young boys, but hold strong rank. When Valentin is not around, they scoff at us in our uniforms and make fun of us. "What idiots playing soldiers, communist soldiers. My dad fought in Eastham. You think you a tough little prick? Go eat my runny shits, you moron. Suck my turds from a spoon." Valentin eventually returns, and we head out to a plane strip. We see a small civilian craft, but painted with army colors and with VDV Soviet insignia. Get excited. We all load in, and immediately the minimal training we have starts to kick in. We take off, and everyone is pissing themselves. Valentin laughs, and Jaeger kicks our shins from his seat to make sure we are awake and ready. Full of second thoughts, get more and more angsty as we rise up. When the time comes, Jaeger opens the side panel door and presses a button. Our cabin is bathed in a blood maroon, as if to signal our doom. "Okay boys, it is time. We jump and prove ourselves men." Jaeger pushes Grisha forward. Grisha hesitates, and 3 seconds later, Jaeger pushes him, just like in real VDV. "If you freeze, I will shove you. If you refuse to move, I will assure you hit the ground like a bullet." I go up, get pushed almost instantly. Don't panic, feel like a man. Training was surprisingly efficient. I pull, and parachute activates before long. Before that I had bent my legs and raised my hands to produce more drag and slow me down. I have intense speed, and I try to brake however. Parachute is winded in one direction and I cradle up, smashing through a tree branch before finally landing hard in the snow like a ball. Emerge like a hare from a hole, removing the Soviet-era parachute. Apparently I had stayed down for 15 whole minutes. The snow is not so displaced, however the ground is wet, very dead grassy and full of marsh-like muds. I get up and use my modem radio and contact Grisha. He is fine, he says. We meet up at a tall tree that leaned against a bare one with no branches on one side. Grisha is scared and stutters more than usual. "What's wrong?" I ask him. Their chutes, fuck. They did not activate. Poor fuck, bitch. They are fucked in pussy now. I try to calm him down. We will find them. Jaeger jumps last, and we manage to see him land safely. He gets on the radio and says we have to rendezvous immediately at the nearby red station northwest. We open our compass and progress and find it with ease, as it is a red-painted station with Soviet insignia, fresh and new, obviously made for these events. We get atop of it and make ourselves hot cocoa from the equipment inside of it. With binoculars provided, we can see a mushy village at the bottom of the mountain ridge, opposite to us. Our brother city, so to speak. Wet, mangy dogs that look like wolves stalked around the houses of a few. It was fun to imagine us shooting at them. Grisha mentions, "Where is your rifle?" Fuck, I forgot it. I have to go back. I tried all the way back for a shitty AKM, which has no bullets or use. In fact, I think even the barrel was welded shut. I find where I landed, and funnily enough, it is stuck in the tree branch I broke through. Just like in Metal Gear Solid, I tell him, as I climb the tree and grab the rifle. After falling first time into mud, we rendezvous with Jaeger. and he is suddenly not the tough man anymore or the officer. He looks stoic, but we ignore it. We hike down to the village, and some army guys pick us up. Not a word is spoken as they listen to bajangle music. Radio squeaks. Have no idea what this music is. Years later realize it was like a Kazakh nasheed or something. After half an hour of Kazakh Islamic bajangle make it to base, Valentin is there, and he is giving all of the soldiers and their officers some sizable money. It is just Grisha, myself and Yegor, and we are flown back to the cabin via helicopter. A week later, we still don't talk, and we still hear that they are searching for Stefan and Nima. Stefan's mother comes back from Spain to mourn, thinking her son has died. Nemo is hilariously enough lost again, but his parents are now deeply worried. His mother mourns every day, sobbing and wearing black. His grandmother brings extra flowers to her husband's grave for him in grief. Valentin and Army co-opting together, looking for Stefan and Nemo. Stefan doesn't get to go to Spain for the summer, obviously. School is back again, and we are in graduating year. Yegor is silent, and the rumors persist that we got stuck on the mountains, and we ate Stefan and Nemo. Fuck your shit, you ringing ass hair munching bastards, I call them at school, who talk so much shit, I cannot take it. Nearly get expelled for throwing lunch tray. One day, Grisha arrives to my door. We have to find Stefan and Nemo. I know where they landed. We are not boys playing anymore. We take a shot of vodka each, for courage, and wearing nothing but our thick winter jackets and coats and wool caps, we burst out into the woods with food for 3 days. Our parents are worried that the Marshwood witches have taken us too. The local priest blesses our PC games and computer while we are gone for some reason, in hopes that our want for luxurious things would bring us back to civilization. Grisha and I are out lookout. We make it surprisingly far in the first day before we stop and make a fire. It works well enough. With some vodka, we eat some dried meat and tinned food before going to bed under a tree. We rise, shivering, start a new fire and eat some more. More vodka for courage, for more warmth. We continue on, smoking cigarettes and lips chapped deep bloody red from cold. We continue to hike for the next day. Continue routine. We must find Stefan and Nemo. Third day, we are nearly out of food, but we find the Red Watchtower. We backtrack and find where I had landed. Grisha finds where he had landed, and we also find a young pioneer survival knife that he dropped by a rock he rested on. We take it as a souvenir. Fuck Valentin and his Soviet adventure scam. Grisha shows where they landed. We progress forward, starving, looking like beasts. We find a parachute back. The parachute itself is knotted inside and packed improperly, probably by Stefan or Nemo themselves. We take it as evidence, proof if we need it. As we aimlessly wander, we end up making it to the soldier playground, and from there we decide to give up and go to Valentin's shack. If anything, if he is not there, we can break in and stay a night, start the fireplace, and eat some more dried meat. We approach, but the place is locked up tight. The helicopter is nowhere to be seen either. Let's check the shack and sleep in there maybe. We enter the shack and find that the door is open. We are shocked to see a red-faced Yegor there, who looks like tears have scarred his face. He is alerted, jumping at the sight of us. What the fuck are you doing here? He tries to scrap with us, but Grisha is a small, scrappy motherfucker. Grisha ties him up with his arms, like an Uzbek son restraining his father from beating his mom. Yegor, you fuck. Don't raise a finger or I'll twist your arm. Fuck you. You are fees now. I twist your arm. He twists his arm. Youch. Fuck. Fine. Sorry. Just don't twist again, you fucking moron. You will both eat my shit. There are 2 large, smelly boxes on the shelves where there was nothing earlier but hunting supplies. A red frozen vein of a former liquid crawled down from a crack. Look around, spot a crowbar. Feel like Gordon Freeman as I pop the shit open. Nearly vomit at the first sight I say. Inside the box is Stefan. He is still wearing his VDV uniform and his hands are cradling, completely bony and frozen against the AKM. His face is gaunt, and his skin a crystal pale whiteness. He looks like a sleeping angel, despite the pained look on him. It appeared he had landed deep in the snow and froze that way, probably with broken limbs. Adrenaline spikes my heart like a spear in the sight of Christ. I pry open the next box. Yegor is belching more profanities when Grisha basically twists his arm out of the socket and destroys his rotator cuff. The second box reveals Nemo. His mouth is agape, and it looks like the top of his head had been cleaved, likely from the fall somehow. His bony, frozen and shriveled body is similar to Stefan's. His scalp is floating and pulled back slightly. In the gate between his hairline and forehead looks like frozen lean, no fat stick veal. Traumatized, I start shaking and crying. It looked very painful, and even some skull was slightly exposed. Grisha starts to beat Yegor mercilessly, pounding him with his heavy fists and with beats to the nose with his foot. The smell of frozen dead friends is oddly similar to unclean, sweaty dick sweat mixed with the smell you get when you floss your teeth. I look down and see the other chain doors at my feet. Crack open the chain doors on the floor. Underneath are picked white, nearly bleached human remains, some of them still drenched in clothes. Without hesitation, I open the other, same thing. This time, the corpse looks like it has been chewed by animals to the bone. These are the other two kids that went missing on the hike years ago. Grisha is trying to convince me to grab a nearby pickaxe and stick Yegor in the head. Terrifyingly, I almost do it. Yegor is being held down and I have the pick in my hand, hovering above him. I'll start with your eyes and then your teeth. Suddenly, a man-beast rushes his way in and freezes all around. It is Valentin, Yegor's father. He is dressed like a hunter and holding a rifle. I run past him just barely and basically shove a recovering Grisha out of the door. We are sprinting as hard as we can through the snow, and finally we break away into the tree line. Valentin had a chance to shoot us both, but for some reason he did not. We are still running when I remember I have the crowbar. For some reason I hold on to it. We run, and from exhaustion and hunger, we slump behind a tree. I fall asleep, and as I do so, Grisha whispers to me, "Do what you have to, Alex." I wake up. Grisha is cold, and looks like he had frozen in place. I painstakingly grab his stiff body and bring him forward a few kilometers as night falls. Hunger is getting the best of me. I stop and start to make a fire. It fails the first 3 times, but I finally manage to get it going. I'm hungry, and I am staring at Grisha's body. "Do what you have to do, Alex," keeps playing in my head. I find some thick sticks and set them aside. I take the young pioneer survival knife that Grisha had recovered. I cut his cheeks off, knowing that it is the most tender part. I slice him open and take some meat from his thigh. I place it on a rock in the fire and move it about with the crowbar while I marshmallow his cheek meat. I eat Grisha, and I cry the entire time. Valentin and a search party conveniently find me the next morning. I am trialed for the murder of Grisha, but found not guilty due to a temporary lapse in my sanity due to the conditions and survivor's guilt. Forced to stay in a mental institution for what I assume to be the rest of my life. The walls all have the same wallpaper. The ceiling is a dull gray. The light bulbs have olive green, clay pot-like texture protections around them. I sleep in a room with 12 other people, each with an individual bed. I have the window for a week, and eventually we get cycled out, so we all have a window week every few months. The people next to me are elderly, with Alzheimer's, and need IV drips. It is depressing. Have dreams that Grisha, Yegor, Stefan, and Nemo and I are on a plane. It crashes. Nemo and Stefan are on fire, but do not seem to be aware of it. They reach out to me, trying to grab me and are screaming, "Help me get up! Help me get up!" But I just say, "No, I cannot. You won't understand, but I cannot." Grisha in my dreams knows I am hungry, as the plane eternally burns and we walk into the sandy beach we crashed on. He slowly cuts his organs out operation style and gives me a cafeteria tray. "Do what you must, bro. I will be fine. Trust me." I won't be hungry without a stomach. I laugh as I eat his guts. Yegor is nowhere to be seen, but in my dream, I have strong brotherly feelings for him, nonetheless. Haha, but it is the instinct that makes you bite your teeth at the flies, I jokingly tell Grisha as I bite into a sandwich made of his cheeks. In the seconds of this dream, he has become a black, melted corpse, gnashing at the flies as worms and maggots writhe within his orifices. I have this dream almost every week, almost always on a Friday. I almost always wake up at exactly 5:05 each time. What does this mean? After 5 years, I am deemed cured of my PTSD and psychopathic tendencies. Feel like a serial killer coming home. Nemu's mom never stopped grieving. Memorial for Stefan, Grisha, and Nemu at their gravesites. Can't show my face around town. Life is depressing. Read that Yegor is in prison for mafia-affiliated crimes. Lol. Get a letter from his father one day, nearly in tears, just opening it, out of fear it may be anthrax or some spooky KGB kill powder shit. I heard they killed Shamil Beziev the same way the FSB did. Just that last year. With a fucking envelope. Inside it is a lot of money. Something like 7 million Russian rubles. Like 100,000 USD more like. In it is a letter. Keep your mouth shut and there will be more money. No one would believe me anyways. The money never came because Valentin had just given me his life savings, and a year later he was arrested for flying and training without a license. The base he cooperated with had to get restaffed due to mass corruption and even mafia affiliation. What a shit show. It has been years now. I sit down at the computer I have not touched in like a decade. Try to turn it on. Forget that the local priest splashed holy water on it, and it was probably not in any shape to run after 9 years of disuse anyways. Mother and dad are still alive, happy to have their son back. I don't tell them about the money. I know I need to start my life over. Get a fake ID and new identification number. Get a passport after paying someone to forge a birth certificate. Move to a remote village in Macedonia. Live there until 2017, when I moved to Denmark. Life is great now, but I decided to visit my parents last month, just to show them I am still alive, and to pay them money in apologies for leaving and abandoning them again. Went through my childhood and teenhood things. Found that VDV pin. 5 years of therapy and psychiatric care reversed in an instant. On the bright side, I'm a fat fuck now, and I will probably never feel hungry again.